Okay, so Sizwe, if you were to articulate your great unlearning, what would it be?
I think not being an entrepreneur, there's a lot going on. We tend to focus more on the building side of things. I've been that person. I've built, wake up in the morning, build. But these minor things, it's not really minor, like communication. To me, communication is just a one-way thing. I tell you, this is my idea, this is how it's going to happen, you go, But I think as the time went by, growing entrepreneurship, having a bigger team, having a business partner, the whole thing of communication had to be intentional. I communicate because I want to also get your view as well. See, if this thing works with you, with everyone within the company, and then we can go. So I think mine was more of communicating with intention, making sure that for my team, it's very obvious that my idea is not gospel. I need to make sure that I take it in, because you wake up in the morning and say, I have this idea, I have this campaign. Mawande, this is the campaign I'm running, let's go. Without really getting, Mawande, what do you think about this? How can I change it? How do you feel? How does the team feel? And things like that. So I think it's communicating.
I love that.
Because it's a very, very important thing, but we usually overlook it. It's like, I just told you, this is what I did, this is what I'm going to do, let's go. But intentionally, how am I communicating? Do you understand where I come from? Am I putting myself in your shoes as well? So that, okay, this is the idea I'm talking about. What do you guys think? Simple.
Cool.
And be intentional about that. Don't say, what do you guys think? And then just go, what do you guys think? How can you change it? So I think with me and unlearning, it was just me being able to communicate with intention so that I can also get other people's views. I think that's,
I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. I think when we're leaders, a lot of the time we do think my ideas are gospel. Yeah. Let's all run with it because I know what I'm doing. Exactly. Mawande, what's your great unlearning?
I think perhaps for me, the biggest unlearning has been to balance self-sufficiency with collaboration. I think when you're a person that believes that they can do anything at any time and you have no limits towards your abilities, you tend to either micromanage or believe that you're better than everyone, right? But then you get to a point where you need to understand that you need people around you, you need the right people around you as well, the right team, how to build a team, how to grow a team, how to train people so that they can take care of certain things, because you're only just one person and you can only do so much in a limited amount of time, in 24 hours. But you can duplicate yourself if you train people around you to perform better at their abilities. So the biggest unlearning for me has always been, or is rather, that you need the right people around you and you can't do everything yourself.
Love that. Okay, I think this is going to be a really good one. Let's get started with today's episode.
The Unlearners. Learn, change,
Learn. I think if you take one courageous step at a time, learn, change, grow. Welcome to today's episode of the UnLearners podcast. It's amazing to have you joining us for a conversation about how so many of us have these moments that split our lives into two. Before we unlearned and after we unlearned. Because at the end of the day, it's those pivotal moments in our lives where we're able to let go of a perspective, of a behavior that really shapes the version of ourselves that we bring into the world today. And today, in this episode, I am so excited. I've actually been holding back the excitement. You probably can't see it on my face, but I'm so excited to have these two individuals on today's episode because I've watched their journeys. They're extremely inspirational. Not only are they inspirational, but they're people that I know from way before they started this business. So just seeing their progress has been so exciting. They are business partners, co-creators. And although the conversation we're going to have today will touch on some of those insights around their business and how they've grown it, it's also going to be personal because unlearning touches each and every part of who we are. And you can't help but have everything influenced. So the people I'm talking about are none other than the co-founders of DinuAfrika. And They are made up of Sizwe Gumede along with Mawande Nzama. Guys, welcome to the podcast. It's amazing to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing to have you. And I think that I can't wait for each and every person who's watching this and listening to this to really understand just what it takes to not only get to where you are in business, but also to understand that there's so much unlearning that happens along the way. But the funny thing is, and Mawande, I'd like you to speak to this a little bit later on, sometimes it's the same thing that you keep finding yourself having to unlearn. Yeah. And you might be listening to this and going, oh my goodness, it's the same for me. Sometimes it's just, it feels like I'm just going in circles all of the time. Yeah. So maybe let's take it all the way back then, guys, for each of you. Tell me a little bit about who you were before you had your moment of great unlearning. I'd like to start with yourself, Mawande. Who do you feel like was the person that Mawande was before this moment happened?
The person that Mawande was before this unlearning happened, I mean, I still have, say, maybe 30 to 40% of that person still around, but better managed. It was a highly self-sufficient individual who believed that they can learn anything, right, at any time. And this goes back towards back in varsity days, back in starting a business, failed efforts of starting a business before we collaborated with Sizwe. My own personal ventures, and believing that I can do absolutely anything. I can be 10 people in one.
Yes.
Right, that's who I was starting off. I can be, at that time, a graphic designer. I can be a photographer. I can be this. I can be that. I can do sales. I can do this. Project management. But I think that's pretty much who I was at that time. And having that ability to want to learn anything was very good, but also the downside of it was you can't do everything. You can learn a lot, but you can't do absolutely every single thing. And that's who I was at that time. And yeah, I think to start off, that's who I was.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. I think there's a lot of juiciness that we can get out of that. I feel like you are not spilling all the tea and not giving us some of the biggest. So maybe tell me that then. What were some of the key challenges that you noticed were leading up to that great unlearning moment?
The key challenges that led to the great unlearning moment was realizing that there's only so much you can do as one person. There's a lot more that can be done as 2, 3, 4 people. Me learning the power of collaboration. There's a person that I followed in my early entrepreneurship journey, which was called Gary Vaynerchuk. He owns a marketing and advertising agency, digital marketing agency based in New York. And he had always emphasized the importance of a team. Yes. Right? And it was a pretty foreign concept to me because I was like, I can do every single thing myself. But I think the great unlearning was that it was being in a position where I have a business partner, where I know my functions, I know my limitations, I know what I can expect of myself and what is expected of me as well, and I know what I can expect of my business partner as well, and what is expected of him as well. So I think that was probably the lead up to the great unlearning, where you say, this is my role, this is what I'm doing, I can't do every single thing. We just focus on this, and so I can be stronger at this specific thing or this specific set of skills, and leave the rest to the people that I'm working with. So I think that's what led to my great unlearning.
I like that. And did you find, just finally, Mawande, on who you were, did you find that that same theme was showing up in your personal life as well?
100%. I think the personal life, I will relate it to family and relationships.
Yes.
I think you get into a relationship, and generally as men, we are leaders, right? So, but how that usually manifests itself in a relationship, a personal relationship, whether it's with a partner or whoever, is that you decide that all the ideas that should go should be my ideas. I should be doing this. This is how it should be done, for instance. And you leave very little room because you believe that you're a self-sufficient person. You leave very little room for contribution from the partner, that you're romantically involved with, for instance. In family situations, you believe that my ideas or perhaps what I have to contribute might be even more important than everyone else. So you leave very little room for collaboration. So I think definitely it has. And I think you notice it more in business, but where it comes from is from personal experiences.
I love it. I love it. Sizwe, let's come over to you. I see you stewing over there. Maybe there are some similarities with your journey as well. Tell me a little bit more about where you're coming from.
In terms of the business.
Both. Maybe just with regards to your great unlearning. Who were you before that happened?
I think with me, I'll just relate it more on the business side because I think that's when I discovered a lot of things. I was the person who really loved communication. You know, I was like, you must communicate, everyone communicate. But I really didn't look deeper into it, you know, because it's just, communication is just talking.
Yeah.
Other people I just told you that I'm fine. You know, but are you really fine? You know, are you intentional about that? You know, because with the team, we have a very big team, but different individuals in the team, and people receive things differently. But it's very important for you as a person to make sure that they receive what you say. I think that was my greatest thing, because I usually got a lot frustrated whenever there's an idea or there's something that you need to do, you know, and then you end up blaming people. But you just didn't communicate. You told them, you didn't communicate. You didn't really explain. For instance, a campaign. I was doing a campaign with one of our clients, even audience. The campaign, you're doing it. I sent you a brief, I sent everyone. Everyone needs to do 1, 2, and 3. And then the day of the campaign comes, you don't really get what you really looking for. But you didn't communicate. You just told people to do this. So I think I was that person. I was frustrated. Every Monday meetings, we go there, me and Mawande, we have this, you know, because I'm frustrated. But I never really communicated. So I think those frustrations were a problem, because every Monday I'm frustrated. And I was like, what's going on? What's going on with me? I never communicated. You know, after that, it was so easy because people know, everyone is aware of what I'm thinking. Everyone knows exactly what's happening because I communicated intention. So I think I've been looking at communication, trying to understand it, you know, even in a personal life as well, because as Mawande said, you know, you're in the business, you also have personal affairs, you've got family, you've got, you know, things like saying, hi Zanega, how are you? You know, I'm asking because I really want to know, how are you? You know, I'm not saying it with some passing time or something that needs to be said, you know, how are you? Okay, you're like, okay, you're fine, okay, what's going on? Those type of things are very, very important, and I think they've changed the type of person I am with my clients, with my business partner, with the team, you know, with the suppliers and things like that. It's a very thin line, you know, between telling you and communicating to you. So I think, I was a frustrated person, I was an angry person, you know, because of that. My way of communicating. Things are just getting better.
Yeah. And isn't it so interesting how a lot of that anger or that pain that comes from the thing we're looking to unlearn is almost self-inflicted in a way. And we often don't understand just how much power we have to change it. But here's my next question to you is, both of those mindsets and behaviors must have been very challenging to work with. I box myself as an introvert, and I know communication is really hard for me, but I have to work at it. So tell me, just maybe both of you, whoever feels inclined to answer first, how challenging was it really? And are you still going through the journey of unlearning that particular behavior?
I think perhaps the biggest challenge to encounter is realizing the limitations of your own mindset or what you need to unlearn pretty much. Everything is good, right? We can blame people. But it gets really difficult when you realize that I can't keep blaming everyone around me.
Yes.
And I need to look at myself and say, actually, I'm the one who's failing to train this team member to execute a certain function in a great way.
Yeah.
I'm failing at doing that. That's why they're not giving me the desired results. Right? Because when they're not giving me the desired results, I then take it upon myself to do it. And then now I have a bunch of other things that I need to take care of as well, which then creates that limitation. So I realize, I can't actually do everything. So for me to actually excel, I need to give myself time to train this person, to work with this person, to develop this person, so I can take this burden off me. So I think realizing the limitation of what you need to unlearn, that it's truly self, is the biggest. It's very difficult, number one, but it's the greatest realization.
I think it's almost the same. You know, if you did it to yourself, it's a bit difficult for you to actually say, it's me.
Yes.
It's me. Actually, it's going like this, it's me. You know, I haven't really said it. Because with me, communication, one can tell you, have meetings like, guys, I must communicate. But I was like, am I really communicating?
Yeah.
You know, am I really communicating or just saying it? You know? And when you realize that, it's a challenge, because it also goes with self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
The type of person I am.
Yeah.
The reason why I communicate like this is because I'm this person. So I need to understand the person first.
Exactly.
And then after understanding
Yes.
the person, then I can try and understand other people, and make sure the person that I understand is communicated to the team as well.
Yeah.
Guys, this is how I work, and this is how I do things.
Mm.
That's a very challenging thing because now you're moving from communication going back to yourself. Who's Sizwe?
Yeah.
Who's Sizwe during the university times?
Yeah.
After university, you went to work. After work, started the business. The initial phase of the business, maybe with almost 7 years now.
Wow.
Who's Sizwe? Who's Mawande? Who's no, and things like that. So that's how we actually face challenges when we actually look at self.
Oh.
So that's very difficult.
It is. It's
Very
extremely
You can look
difficult.
at other people. You're like,
Yes. Yeah, when it's time to.
yeah.
Exactly.
But you, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Man. It's difficult. But yeah.
Yes, I know I'm interrupting the episode, but it's just to let you know that if you're enjoying this, you are going to love our weekly newsletter. So every single week, I'm sending you tips, tools, insights to help you on your unlearning journey, but also I'm sending you updates about events, our various courses that are also going to support you as you learn, change, and grow. Okay, now, finally, let's get back to the episode.
I love that. I think that that's such a beautiful segue into then talking about who is the version of yourself that you are now? Because I feel like we're never complete.
Yeah.
We're always unlearning. We're always going through the journey of letting go of who we thought we were. Because even the versions of ourselves that we are now, who's to say if something happens that you're always going to be this person? So I think that what you've said, Sizwe, is such a beautiful segue into that conversation. Who are you now? Now that you've built a level of self-awareness that, yes, is very hard to build, who are you guys now?
I think just taking off from what Caesar said is very, very important because when you start realizing that the new version of yourself that has improved from who you thought you were actually starts enjoying themselves better. Right? The more you become self-aware, the better you become effectively. For instance, if I've been a self-sufficient person doing everything by myself, one man wolf pack type situation, and then I go into a situation where I'm actually training team members. And I started to discover that I actually enjoy training. That's what I truly, truly love.
Yeah.
But I would have never realized this new person had I clung onto or failed to unlearn who I was before. I'm this person who enjoys training. I actually enjoy developing a team member, developing a photographer, developing a graphic designer. I enjoy standing in front of large audiences and training small businesses that need mentorship, other business people that need some sort of training. That's what I enjoy doing. So I think if you do yourself a disservice of failing to point yourself out, hold yourself accountable, not be self-aware, and fail to unlearn, you also limit yourself in what you could be.
Yes.
Which is where I am now, a person who can actually stand in front of people and actually do a training, and actually enjoy and develop other people as well. But I would have never become that had I continued to believe that I can do everything myself.
Yes.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm more intentional with my things, with everything that I do. I understand empathy. It's very important, when you, with a person, be it your business partner, be it your team member or your maybe partner in a relationship, you also put yourself in the shoes in every situation. I can't come here and say, Mawande, this just happened, and why? I must, okay, this happened, and just put myself in his shoes and understand how he looked at things. I'm trying with that, right? Because it's very difficult. Sometimes you're like, just go back and like, this is how it should happen. And it just made me a better man, like as a man, as a brother, as a friend, as a business partner, because things are not the same. Then arguments are less, communication is much smoother.
Yes.
And it's a work in progress at the same time because it's not easy. But I think empathy is very, very important to me, and being intentional with everything, and I can see it. I can see it in my life and my mental state, and
Oh, that's beautiful. I think that's really beautiful. I can't wait to have a conversation with you guys a little bit later on, maybe later down the line, to find out how things have changed. Because I love to sit with people, just have conversations with people, and I love to see how certain we are in any moment that, no, this is now how I'm going to approach the world. And then 10 years later, we have a conversation and you go, oh my goodness, I had no idea what I was talking about. I was so naive. And you're probably 50 at that time. Oh, I was young and naive.
Exactly.
But you've changed. So are you guys, maybe really quickly as we close off, are you guys looking forward to more unlearning? Because who you are now is not necessarily perfect. You're still a work in progress. But are you looking forward to a continuous journey, of unlearning?
I think just on that point, what me and Mawande realized, especially building the businesses that we have, is that we've been building for such a long time. Building the businesses, making sure the processes are fine, systems. But we later on realized that we also have to build our characters. We usually have these conversations in the car, like, I just realized that I'm this person, I just realized that intention, things that we're talking about now, things that we know. He knows where I come from, I know where he comes from, and we usually talk about these things. And so it's very nice, the questions you ask, because it's a process. It's a process. Intention, communication, maybe next would be emotional, emotional balance, mental health, something we talk about. And a lot of entrepreneurs usually focus more on the business and forget about the person. It's making sure that the business is making so much money, the business is building, is big, and what about you? You as a person. The business is there, DinuAfrika, Print Africa, Fast Africa is there. And that's SIZWE'S Mawande. You have to separate yourself. You have to make sure that you do this thing that's called character development. However you want to do it, but make sure that you take care of yourself and make sure that you're that person. So it's a very good question that you're asking, because it's something that we literally intentional about, making sure that we become better people, for ourselves, for our partners, for our families, and things like that. So,
I love it. Mawande?
Yeah, no, I agree as well. I think character development is such an important thing. It's a really, really important thing. And I think there's some things that you learn as you go in the journey of entrepreneurship. You can't, day one, entrepreneurship, I'm an entrepreneur now, I run my own business, understand what character development is. You understand what trying to get a sale is, right? Because that's what you're supposed to learn at that moment, right? But 7 years later, you start realizing that actually, the reason why these things have not been working out the great way is because of character development. I'm good at the business, I'm able to secure clients, I'm able to train a team, I'm able to do this, but I'm struggling with one specific flaw that needs me to develop myself, right? I can prioritize the business, it's like having children. You give so much towards children, right? You watch them grow, but you lose yourself in the process, right? And it's very difficult to realize that you're losing yourself in the process because everyone else is growing, everything's blooming around you, but you yourself are not blooming, right? So I think character development is a very, very important thing, and I think you have to emphasize it because so many of the podcasts that you watch will talk about securing the bag, get that, secure that, but they will hardly focus on you, right? And also at the same time, you need to get to a phase where you need to realize that I need to focus on myself. It doesn't all happen at once, right? It's all a phase of learning and unlearning, Okay, I've learned how to grow a business. Now I need to learn how to focus on myself, right? What am I doing now? Okay, let me do this, let me do that, let me become more self-aware. Okay, I like this now, I don't like that. I don't like that now. I'm into this now, I'm not into that. So it all comes as part of self-awareness, which is this very big term that everyone uses loosely. But I think when you're in the mix, you start to understand that self-awareness means this thing to me that might be different to someone else.
Exactly.
So I think,
that's true.
Is very, very important.
What a wonderful note to end our conversation on character development and how it's really a mix between your self-awareness, but also self-management. Now that you know, Sizwe, you touched on this so beautifully. Now that you know who you are, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to manage yourself through your day-to-day conversations, through how you run your business, through how you interact with people at work, so that you can constantly be learning and unlearning? Guys, I have no words to express how excited I am about how this went. And this won't be the last time we have a conversation like this one, but I want to just encourage you to keep doing the amazing work that you do. Don't stop. You are encouraging so many people. Some of them communicate with you, some of them don't, but someone's always watching. And through your journey, individuals who watch this will consistently be reminded to learn and unlearn and always challenge themselves to be better. Because at the end of the day, like you said, Mawande, that's the one thing that you can hold in your hand that really supports the rest of your growth. These two goodies that you see on the table, I will hand to you just now, but these are for you just to say a very big thank you for coming out, sharing your time, sharing your insights, and being the amazing people that you are. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you as well for listening to this episode or watching this episode of the UnLearners podcast. It's been a pleasure having you. Stay tuned for the next episode and remember to subscribe to the channel and make sure that you rate and review the podcast. Till next time. Bye.
The UnLearners. Learn, change,
The UnLearn. I think if you take one courageous step at a time, it's going to be such a the UnLearn.
learn, change, grow.